So welcome back to one more day. But today I like the weather. At least it's not snow like that day. So things are a lot better. It's 10 Celsius, 10 degrees. So just in case you were wondering, this is a before and after the snow. So yeah, a lot better. I like that. And still going back home. Always check the road before crossing because you don't want to die, right? So I was wondering the few things that I don't like about Canada or things about living in Canada. So the first thing is that weather. I do not like the weather here. The very first reason is that it's very cold and windy. Even during the winters, it's cold and windy. I know that not all the provinces and not all the cities are super cold, like somewhere in Victoria or maybe even somewhere in nearby Toronto, I guess. There are some cities which are moderate, they are not super cold and mostly livable. But the province I am right now is super cold. That's the first thing I really don't like about living in Canada. And second thing is that public transport. So you will see cars everywhere. There's a bus station. So public transportation is just worse. Yeah, public transportation is good in cities like Vancouver, Toronto. The public transport are good in these cities, but the tiny cities, even in Ottawa when I was living there, the public transport was just okay. The buses take 15 minutes. Even in those major cities, the transportation is not like the one I used to experience in China. I mean, the public transportation, the metro network system, the lines, and all those, I mean, that was just a different level. So you need to, or you have to have the car, otherwise you are just running and walking everywhere, just like now. So I have to walk pretty much everywhere. Like if I need to go outside from work or something, I have to walk. And if I want to take the bus's timing and schedule are just okay. I mean, 50 minutes intervals, 30 minutes interval. If you missed one, they are on time. Less you can say 50% of the time. And most of the time, you just need to wait. Either they are earlier or they are late. Third thing is, it's expensive. Mostly the housing is expensive. The rent is skyrocket. The rent here is just way too much. Is way too much even than your expectations. I'm living in one bedroom apartment. The building is fairly new. Actually it is new. I will give the tour later, maybe in the future videos. But just rent is super expensive that a normal person, even with the full-time job, it's very hard for that person to afford that one bedroom apartment or to live alone, mostly on minimum salary. So yeah, that's the third thing I do not like about Canada. Fourth thing I do not like about Canada is that you have to have a job, a full-time job to do most of things. I mean, it's not like you can start your own business just tomorrow, just like in different country. You have some options to start business. I mean, even without having a job. Because if you have your own business where you are self-employed, things are gonna be harder for you. I can give you example, like if you want to buy a home in future, the mortgage is hard to get. If you want to buy a car, it's gonna get hard for you to get that credit, that loan. And about this, Canada pretty much worked on credit. You need to rent something, you need to go to bank for business rent, or you need to get some new apartment or a new renting building. They're gonna check your credit scores. And if your credit scores are low, they're not gonna rent you. That's the first thing. So this is the fourth thing about the job and about the business thing. Yes, it's hard to be self-employed here because Canada is more toward, you can say, job oriented country, and they want to have everyone to have a job, a career. so they can grow and pay taxes and all these things. So that's the fourth thing from my side that I don't like about Canada. Alright, I'm home. So I'm gonna start the fifth point here. It was kind of hot outside. Yeah. Alright, just give me a minute. Surprise. So let's continue the fifth point. So the fifth point, actually there's a lot of things that I don't like about Canada. But this one thing is about I do not like the most is the public health care system. So just to get my first family doctor, I had to wait for 6 months. And just to visit that doctor, I need to wait for 1 to 2 weeks for that appointment. And even after getting that appointment, you need to wait 2 to 3 hours inside that clinic so that doctor can see you. So the public health system is kind of just okay here. So that's the fifth point I don't like. If I want to add more to this is cities are very far from each other. Example, Ottawa, Toronto, Winnipeg, Edmonton, Vancouver, they are far from each other. They are like two different planets. If you need to go from one side to second side or one city to second city, there's no other ways but a plane. Yeah, if you can do with the car, but you just need to drive for 2-3 days straight, which I won't recommend for anyone to do that. So that's the second thing. Cities are kind of far, so you feel like you are only stuck in your own city. Example, if I need to visit a second city, like if I want to go to Toronto, I need to have a plane tickets, the hotel and all that crap. I can't even drive because it's really far. Yeah, there are a few cities which are close to each other like Victoria and Vancouver, Ottawa, Montreal and Toronto. They are kind of close, but most of other cities, let's say if you're living in the middle of Canada, then you are pretty much doomed because you need to get a plane for everything. So that's the next thing I do not like. Or yeah, there's no trains. There are trains, but they are equal to no trains because they are almost expensive or more expensive than the airplanes. So let's consider there is no trains like in Europe or in China or any other countries where I lived before. So there's no train systems like that. So these are the things that I don't like about Canada. Overall, there's a lot of good things I like about Canada. I will make a second video about that, but in today's videos, I'm only going to talk about this. So these were the few things I don't like about Canada. And yeah, that's pretty much. I'm going to give you the room tour, the apartment tour someday. I'm going to tell you how much this thing cost me every month. So until that time, take care of yourself. If you have any question about Canada, if you have any questions, suggestions, or anything you want to know about Canada, or Europe, or China, or any other countries, because I almost traveled half of the world already and I have a lot of experience in these countries. If you have anything you want to know, just let me know in the comments. Until that time, take care of yourself and bye-bye.